Okay, everybody, this is the video that I promised and the big new feature that I've been hinting at. And it's not a lot of fanfare on a late Tuesday night to be doing this because it's midnight in a lot of places where you folks are. But I'm going to leave this up for a while, even though I suspect Wednesday morning will probably be demanding of a fresh market video. I'm going to put this up instead because I wanted to let you know about it and get your feedback on it. So let's just plunge forward. This is a new feature called layered charts, L-A-Y-E-R-E-D, layered charts. It is something I've wanted to do for years, and other priorities just kept pushing it out of the way. And it's a very complex feature, and so it just kept on the back burner until now. Now it's live and it's real. And at first glance, it may seem like, oh, comparison charts, big deal. It is not comparison charts, even though it may seem that way. It is a lot more flexible than comparison charts, and it allows you a way to take two charts and mess around with them. Usually for the purposes of like looking at analogs, but maybe for insights into one chart leading another, one chart lagging another, one financial instrument or indicator suggesting that something's about to happen somewhere else, what have you. And part of the reason I want to introduce this to you is so you can come up with your own examples and your own insights into how this can be exploited. I'm going to show you one example just to make it clear what on earth I'm talking about, because I'm sure this is like complete, huh? One thing I'd also like to tell me is, I'll embarrass myself by saying this, is this unique? Because I don't know if it is or not. I've never used a Bloomberg terminal in my life, but I'm pretty sure what I'm going to show you, you can do with Bloomberg terminals if you have enough expertise. But I don't know if this is available on other platforms. I've never seen it anywhere else, but if it is, let me know. I'm curious. Anyway, let's get going. Mode, layered charts. That's where you find it. Just go right up here. And you might want to do a Control F5 to get the very latest and greatest version of SlopeCharts, because this is like hot off the press, like minutes before recording this video. So layered charts, go bang. Well, doesn't look much different, does it? But let me tell you what it's all about. You will see instantly there's this new row of controls up here, including, importantly, this little question mark button, which will take you to a help screen that explains everything I'm about to tell you. But you can read that at your leisure. I'm going to show you live the concept here. And to do so, I'm going to load a chart IYR. This is the real estate chart. And when you're in this mode, you can do anything you can normally do. You can flip it upside down, you can hide drawn objects, you can show technical studies, you can zoom in, zoom out, what have you. But what I'm going to do as an example is, I've mentioned the analog in IYR many times, and let's just look at it in a new way with this mode. So you can see up here layer 1 and layer 2. We're automatically in layer 1. And what I'll do is just zoom in to this chunk of IYR. And I'll try to zoom in on the most salient portion, which shows the climb and the plunge that took place afterward. So that's layer 1. Go to layer 2, and it automatically loads the same symbol, but it's still unzoomed. And so now we've got a big fat mess on our hands. So you can see here, I can switch already between layer 1 and 2. And what I've created here is very simple. Here's layer 1, which is IYR zoomed in. And layer 2 is IYR not zoomed in. And you can see as you switch layers, the layer that you're not in is still faintly shown, but it's clearly kind of in the background. So what I can do in layer 2 here, and I want to be clear, you can have two different symbols. And you can do anything you want in either of those layers. In this instance, I just happen to be using the same symbol. And so in this case, what I'll do is I'll just zoom in to the recent history of IYR like so. Now, as you can see, I've already got a pretty interesting analog cooking here. You can see it sort of kind of looks like something cool is going on there. But what I can do now in this particular layer is I'm going to stretch it. And what I'll do is I'll push from below. I'll just push that sucker up like so. Well, that's as much as I can do. And maybe what I can even do is go to layer 1 and maybe even push. Yeah, no, I don't want to do that. Now, and I didn't do this in advance. I'm kind of doing it with you in real time here just to experiment. But you can see already what I've done in a very slapdash fashion here is revealed the analog in a way that is more lucid than before. In fact, just as I'm looking at this, I'm wondering if I can stretch the right a little bit. You know, no, that's actually kind of nice the way it is. I don't really need to do that. So the bottom line here is that we are showing two different layers of the same symbol in very different time frames, one of which illustrates the plunge that took place after this formation, and the other where we're just still up here within the formation. But the point is that, and we can also, if we want, we can hide the drawn objects independently of one another, like so. So now we've got a very plain, spare view into the analog. So without the drawn objects, maybe it's more clear. It's really up to you. That is a simple example of how this is used. Now, there are other features built into here to make things more clear. So for example, I can right click and I can change the chart colors and the labels. So if I wanted one to be a nice red to really make it stick out like a sore thumb, like so, now it's much more obvious. I've wrecked it now because I unzoomed, but it's much more obvious what is what here, because the red one, which is up here in its own data line, is one layer, and the not red one is another. And so I could change this one too to, you know, purple or anything I wanted, like so. There are, as I said earlier, you can do anything with an individual chart they can do in a normal chart. You know, you can flip things upside down like so, which in this instance really has no value. But you may have seen sometimes instances where you want to show like interest rates versus a particular stock, and maybe interest rates should be shown upside down to illustrate a particular point. So what I've shown here is the same stock in two layers zoomed into different portions of the chart for the sake of an analog. And if you get deep into this and you're like, you know, what a mess, I just want to start over, you can click on the reset button, and that just like undoes everything. It gets rid of everything you've done, and it just makes a nice, simple chart in layer 1, and you kind of start all over again. And it even goes back to the original symbol of spider. So the reset is, you know, just that, it resets it. And we've purposely put these things here. These aren't new features particularly up here, but they simply bring to the top level these functions that are most commonly used, I believe, with this new feature. So what I want you to do is, and for now, I've opened it up to everybody, even free accounts. Everybody gets access to it. Later on, it's just going to be for gold and platinum, but for the time being, it's for everybody. And I'd like you to experiment with it, come up with new ideas, share them, and email me any ideas or problems. And I emphasize email because I'm not going to hang out in comments waiting for somebody to say something to me. You need to email me. The one last thing I'll say is, if you think of other features you want to have in this function, let me know. The only one I'm thinking of right now is the ability to save charts, so that you don't have to go through all these gymnastics every time you want a particular chart. I'm holding off on that now just to see if people really like this and get it and use it, because the ability to save layer charts is going to be more engineering time, more engineering dollars. If nobody cares, I'm not going to bother. But if people do care, I will certainly bother, because it seems an obvious extension of this. So that's it. One simple example, but you're bound to come up with better ones. And if you need a little more help understanding it, just click the question mark and there's a help screen there. Thanks. Thanks.